My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. I was sitting here, and I'm working on a new book. I haven't mentioned it much, but I'm going to talk about it more, and I'm going to actually do a lecture on this book at the All Black National Convention. And the book is called "The Ten Commandments of Black Economic Power." And in this book, "The Ten Commandments of Black Economic Power," I'm choosing in this particular project to focus on family economic power. And sort of those black wealth secrets that you don't hear about in mainstream media. You know, those things that those little leaks that we have, those little areas where money is being lost and we don't know how much money is being lost. And so one of the things I was thinking about today is family. And a lot of us have had some sort of economic experience with our family. A lot of us have been victims of what I call economic trauma. Economic trauma is where somebody does something to you that is traumatic economically, or maybe you've gone through poverty and felt the trauma of poverty, or whatever the case may be. Well, you know, my wife, who happens to be an expert on the subconscious mind, one of the things that she said actually programs your subconscious mind is, uh, among other things, is trauma. She said that trauma can make you learn how to hate something, and you don't even know why you hate it. You can be scared of something and not even know why you're afraid. It can make you hate your brother or your sister. You know, the people that you're supposed to love, the people that are supposed to be your allies and teammates in this world. You know, you end up basically feeling like they are your enemies, right? And you'd rather connect with a stranger than to connect with the people that you're supposed to be related to. And so, the three things, in case you want to know, the three things that impact your subconscious mind the most, she said, are trauma, repetition, and symbolism. Trauma, repetition, and symbolism. So if you're repeatedly traumatized, you know, over and over in your life, then you're being programmed in your subconscious mind. So I want to ask you all a question. Give me a yes or no. And I see some of you in here, Lawrence and Francis and Nathaniel and Woke Root. Sorry, I do see you all, and I want to acknowledge you. I'm doing something right now that's not letting me sort of engage as much as I want, but I wanted to speak to you. And so I wanted so let me ask you a question. How many of you um have been hit, unfortunately, with maybe some trifling ass relatives, like trifling relatives who, in particular, those who maybe will borrow money and never pay it back, or will, you know, maybe exploit, like guilt trip you into getting you to give up your money and then screw you over. Give me a yes or no if you kind of had to deal with just, you know, horrible relatives. Like, not all your relatives are terrible, but you got that cousin that you can't even hardly talk to. You can't even get in the car with them, or you can't even be around certain people. Maybe drug addicts. Drugs did a big number to the black community. Drugs alone probably cost black people, probably, I'm going to guess, maybe $10 trillion in lost wealth. Like, so if they were to ask me, Dr. Boyce, what sort of reparations do you think black people deserve just for, you know, the CIA putting crack cocaine in the black community? I would end up guessing a number of about $10 trillion. But that's not a scientific assessment, but that's based on all the fact that so many of our families have had some sort of experience dealing with a relative who's on drugs, and it was very costly. Maybe you didn't have a mother because your mama got hooked on crack. Maybe your daddy, like my daddy was in and out of jail over some drugs, you know, and so these are real things. Like, these have real economic impacts. And when people talk about black wealth, they tend to talk about the simple stuff, the easy stuff. They talk about black spending power and the black people. If we stop buying Air Jordans and new cars, we could you know, have 1.4 trillion to do blah blah blah. And I agree with all that. I'm not going to argue with that. But what I am going to say is that there's a lot of hidden black wealth, a lot of secrets that they don't talk about, and I think these things need to be discussed. So here's the one that was on my mind. Do me a favor, by the way, if you're listening, please hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe button. We're trying to build black media. We want black people to be more intelligent. Some people don't like that. Some people don't want to hear black people critically thinking. But that's what we want to do. That's our goal. Our gospel is literally black intelligence, black critical thinking, black economics, all the things on this platform. So if you believe in that, I hope you'll take a second and share the video. Maybe hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to a channel, join the Black Business School. The URL is right there on the screen. We serve 148,000 students worldwide. We'd love to help you. So with that said, here's one of the things I want you to think about. Give me a yes or no on this question. How many of you have ever had a relative who borrowed money from you and did not pay you back? A relative or a close friend who borrowed money from you and did not pay you back. Give me a yes or no in the chat. if you've dealt with that. I'm gonna say yes for myself. I've had that happen, and you know what I'm talking about, where you get somebody that borrows money, and literally, like their personality completely changes. You know, like when they're trying to borrow the money, like they're super nice, super polite, super responsive. They answer the phone on the first ring. They're incredibly accommodative. Whatever you need, whatever you want, they're making you all the promises. Oh yeah, 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 sure. I'll give you $1 million interest, and I'll give you my firstborn child. And as soon as I get my check from Arby's, I'm gonna give you the whole check. And it sounds real good, right? And it works because this is like little cousin Pookie that you grew up with, that you've known since you were little, and because you want to be a good relative, you want to come through for Pookie, right? Like you like, okay, Pookie got my back, I got his. I'm gonna make sure he's good, because I want to be loyal and all this other stuff, right? Well, the problem is, like they say, them hoes ain't loyal, right? So sometimes y'all got some unloyal hoes in your family who don't want to reciprocate to the loyalty that you're showing to other people, right? And so you loan Pookie the money, and then Pookie done made every promise in the world. They done told you, all the wonderful things they're gonna do as soon as they get their check. They're gonna call you and show up at the job, pick you up from work, bring you a cheeseburger, and give you with all the money, in the same bag. In the bag, it's gonna be a cheeseburger and your $250, and then the day comes where Pookie gets paid, and you're thinking that Pookie's gonna give you that money back because you told Pookie 5 times. You said, "Look, man, I really need this money. I gotta pay my rent. Hey, I really need this by Tuesday. You got me. Yeah, I got you, bro. I got you, man. I got you." Right? And then Tuesday comes, you can't find Pookie. Pookie's nowhere to be found. He's not picking up the phone. He was answering on the first ring before, but now he just isn't answering at all. It's going straight to voicemail. Um, and you can't even get on the phone with Pookie. And then if you do catch up with the person, you get more excuses, a long list of excuses, right? We know how that works. And in addition to the excuses, another thing that you may run into is you may run into just complete silence. And that silence, where they're not answering any calls or anything, then turns into hostility, right? So when you call Pookie, when you finally catch up with him, you don't have to chase him down. You catch him in the club. He done dropped $50 in the club on some lady he trying to get some ass from, and you like, "Hey man, you owe me $200. Like, you told me you were gonna pay me Tuesday on the 3rd, and it's now the following month, and you haven't paid any of that money. What's going on?" Right? And what do you get then? Well, you get the attitude, like, "Why you tripping? Why you tripping? Why you always got to make it about the money?" Well, obviously, because Negro, you made it about the money when you were asking to borrow my last 200 damn dollars that I told you I did not have. You made it about the money when you were in your little situation and felt like because you're my cousin, I'm supposed to bail you out, right? So you're angry, right? You're pissed off, and all of us go through this, right? And here's the thing, and I know we have our own customized responses to the cousin Pookies in our lives, right? I had that conversation on my Instagram page, and one sister immediately responded with something that I knew somebody was definitely going to say, which I don't think is a bad reaction. She said, "That's why I don't loan money to relatives," right? That's why. Now, how many of you have taken that response? How many of you have found that to be your solution? Like, look, when it comes to family, I don't do business with family. I don't loan money to family. I don't mess with family when it comes to money. I don't mix family and money. How many of you have come to that conclusion, that literally just don't ask for nothing? I ain't got nothing. I don't care how much money's in my bank account. I'm not loaning you anything. How many of you have got to that point where you had to turn into a hard ass? Give me a yes or no. Where you had to kind of turn into a mean hard ass because you got tired of getting played. You got tired of being used as a sucker. You got tired of people taking your kindness for weakness. Give me a yes or no if you're in that category. Because I know I've been told to be in that category. I've heard that. My grandma was like that. Rest her soul. My grandmother Felicia, who taught me about economics, she had basic rules about loaning money to family. Especially if she loaned you money one time and you didn't pay her back, she would never ever loan you money again. I thought that was a good rule. So here's the deal, right? Now here's the reason I want to bring this up today. This is why I'm talking about this. I'm talking about it because what you experience when that happened. First of all, I want you to forgive yourself for being a kind person. Like, forgive yourself for having a heart. Like, forgive yourself for being nice to people. I've been played so many times by being quote unquote the nice guy. I can't tell you. I mean, y'all, some of y'all have seen it play out in public where I would help somebody out. They don't have a platform. I put them on my YouTube channel, help, support them, put them out there and help them. They blow up and get big. Next thing you know, it's like, fuck Boyce Watkins. Boyce ain't nothing. Boyce is the ass. I'm like, wait a minute. I wasn't the asshole when you was begging me to come on my YouTube channel. What are you talking about? Like, what happened? Right? I've seen it. I've had that happen to me. Just ungrateful situations, where you're kind of like, wait, I really shouldn't have helped nobody. It's very traumatic. It's very hurtful, right? You're like, man, that's what I get for being nice, right? That's how you end up feeling, and I'm just being honest. Like, that's how I feel. Like, whenever that's happened, I've always felt that way. I just don't talk about it much because you got to move on. You can't let your pain, your pain cannot dictate how you engage with other human beings, because I believe in love, and I believe that love requires a certain amount of toughness and resilience, especially when you're Black and you want to form loving relationships and helpful relationships with other people. You got to get the toughest skin that there is, because that shit is traumatic as hell. And so here's the deal. When you had cousin Pookie borrow your money and Pookie didn't want to pay you back, and Pookie started tripping the minute you started asking for your money back, and you got pissed and said, see, that's why I'm never going to loan nobody no money again. That was basically economic trauma. That's what that was. You endured economic trauma. And what trauma does is it can cause you to get to the point where you don't want to do nothing good for nobody because you don't want to get hurt. Right. And this is natural. This is something that happens in all kinds of economic systems around the world. Economic trauma breeds fear. Trauma creates fear. And when you fear, when you are infected with the virus of fear because you've been hurt, whether you're talking about getting dumped in a relationship where you didn't do anything wrong, or having somebody steal your money, a loved one steal your money after they suckered you into believing they were going to pay you back, like that fear shapes like how you approach every situation in the future. And what happens is you start socially distancing from even your own relatives. You literally get PTSD. I think that's a good term, Sanford. Thank you. You get PTSD. You're like, I'm not doing nothing that involves money and family. I'm not loaning no money to my relatives. I don't care if I got it like that. You're not getting a nickel from me, because I'm not going to be the sucker. Now, the reason that I'm bringing that up is because what happens when you have an economy built on fear is you actually are losing wealth when that occurs. Those fear-based economies that are created in our families because we got these loser relatives who think the world owes them something and don't want to pay back their debts. That causes a lack of trust. It causes us to re-traumatize each other. And what it does is it takes away one of the greatest wealth generating mechanisms that there is, which is family. Most wealth that exists in America and throughout the world is family wealth. It's relatives doing business with relatives. It's cousins. I'm working in my cousin's business. My dad has a shop, and he depends on me to run the shop, right? Like, or I need money. My family has, some index universal life policies with $800,000 in it. So whenever I need money, I can go to the family bank and borrow $3,000 or $5,000 or whatever I need to get me through a situation. See what happens is that in good economies, in economies that are safe, that are pure, that are good, where everybody's giving and people aren't just taking and not giving back, that is leech free, those economies become the best economies in the world. Because what occurs is you have the security and the safety of pooling your resources together and working together to solve common economic problems. You become your own bank, you become your own business, you create jobs for everybody in the family because everybody knows their responsibility. Everybody has a responsibility to the family. Now, what happens when you get these broke, busted families and these broke, busted situations where you got cousin Pookie who thinks the world owes him something? It's usually because he wasn't instilled with certain values. He was raised to think that the world owes him something. He don't owe nobody nothing. He was raised to believe that it's okay to borrow somebody's money and never pay them back. He was raised to think that he can just do whatever he wants with no accountability. That same guy who borrowed your money and didn't pay you back, if you look throughout his life, he's probably got a long trail of responsibilities that he did not uphold. Right? A long trail. I'm gonna hurt some people's feelings by saying this. I already know there's some people probably listening to this video right now who are feeling a little bit self-conscious. I see I see men and women. I see women in the, women out here that don't want to take any accountability for what they do. And I see men out here in the so-called manosphere who don't know nothing about being a man. Some of these men in the manosphere need to be in the little boyosphere because they act like little boys. They haven't taken any accountability. So when you call them on that, they get very offended. The hit dog usually hollers. So my point is to say that when you're talking about building black wealth, you have to look at what happens with our families. When the family started breaking down, it's like $2 or $3 trillion leaking out of the black community every generation, largely because of the fact that everything you could have been for each other dies because you don't even trust each other enough to want to do any business with each other at all. So when you're out here trying to engage in the very essential and critical act of making a living, you can't even do that with your relatives. So you trust a white man before you trust your own goddamn cousin. Ain't that some shit? I trust my oppressor more than I trust my own relatives. That it ain't supposed to be that way. That's not natural. That is not natural, black people. When you say, well, your cousin, he can't do the job very well. You want to hire your cousin for your business, but because your cousin doesn't have any form of responsibility and he can't come work for you, then you like, well, I guess I gotta go hire the white boy because the white boy, at least he'll show up to work on time. Or I gotta go and work with a stranger. I'd rather loan money to a stranger than loan it to my own relatives because my relatives are trifling. I don't do no business with my relatives. Well, that type of trauma breeds the fear, which creates the economic social distancing that causes massive leaks in black wealth. So let's look to make it clear. Imagine two examples. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button. Please hit the thumbs up, share, subscribe button. And I want you all to know also at the All Black National Convention, which is October 29th through November 1st in Orlando, John Boyd, who is the father of Victory Boyd. Victory Boyd is that singer. She's a Rock Nation artist. She sings so good that Jay-Z signed her on the spot. He's going to be there with his whole family. They're going to be performing at the convention. The NFL fired her from her gig. She was going to sing the national anthem for the opening NFL season opener, and because they refused to take that shot, they told them that they can't do the job. But I respect him. He stands by his principles, and he's going to actually give a lecture on what he calls the black, or what we've called the black family formula. How he was able to get all 9 of his kids on code. So now they're touring the world and making millions together. They're now out here accomplishing great things as a family. They're world famous, and they're doing this together as a family. There's 9 of them, nine children plus John. And John's going to come to the convention, allblacknationalconvention.com. He's going to give a whole lecture on the black family formula that he used to bring all of his children together, to get them on code, to accomplish a common objective. This is something that should be the first thing black people learn. This is far more important than anything you've ever learned in school, is how to operate and practically structure a functioning family so that you don't get in each other's way. And at best, you're able to actually build together as opposed to spend all your time fighting and avoiding each other. So here's the deal. In any economy, this is economic theory here. This is not a family, just a pure family or sociological discussion. This is economic theory. In economic theory, fear, trauma, distrust destroys economic activity. When the U.S. economy goes bad, it's because everybody's afraid. That's why they measure consumer confidence. When everybody's afraid, the economy goes down. Your stock prices go down, unemployment rises, inflation can spiral out of control, banks don't loan money, corporations don't make investments, consumers don't want to spend. Everything falls apart when there is fear and trauma in the economy. So in your own family, the same rule applies. When you traumatize your loved ones, effectively what occurs is that you're creating that economy of fear that causes you to lose so much potential that you would have had if you had found a way to work together. I've been telling you guys a million times that relationships is one of the most important keys to wealth that is often overlooked. People think that they can do it all by themselves and they don't need nobody, and I'm gonna cut everybody off and I'm still gonna have the same success rate. No, you won't. No, you won't. Can't do it all by yourself. You can't compete with billionaire families when you out here trying to be Superman all by yourself, because you cut off your greatest allies. Your greatest teammates are supposed to be your family. So think about some of the families that we have. A typical family in our community, in many cases, not in all cases, but in a lot of cases, is a family where, let's say you've got 3 three children in the family. Two of them are regular people that both work for white people, because 98% of all black people work for white people. So you're working for white people, you're building wealth for the white community. In exchange, they're giving you just enough money to get by. They're not giving you enough assets to actually build anything. You could start a business with your sibling, but you and your sibling can't get along because y'all don't even know how to talk to each other, because y'all just pissed each other off and maybe re-traumatize each other, or whatever. And then you got that one brother that's on drugs, and he's the baby. And so everybody, whenever he gets locked up, he's calling people in the middle of the night, asking them for bail money and everything else. He shows up in mama's house. Mama is now a senior citizen who's on a fixed income, but he's showing up at mama's house asking, and he doesn't show up to mama's house saying, "Hey, mama, can I help you? Can I cut the grass? Can I help you out? Can I buy something for you?" No, he's showing up at mama's house saying, "Hey, mama, can you loan me $40? Hey, mama, can I borrow some money, mama?" Right? Because nobody ever taught him his role as a man. He was never taught responsibility. And then his siblings, again, all of these are healthy individuals that could be working together to achieve a common goal. None of that's happening because you're kind of playing this weird strugglenomics. And then you're not just playing strugglenomics where you're spending more time building white wealth than you're building black family wealth. But on top of that, you're dealing with sort of one trauma after another, one drama after another, one disappointment after another, because you've got people that will make promises and don't understand or don't consider anything to be sacred about the promises that they've made. Like, yeah, I'll pay you. I promise I'll pay you back on Tuesday. And then he just never shows up and repays you, because in his mind, he was always the baby and he never felt that he had a responsibility to come through for anybody. Right. So then at that point, what's happened is, I want you to not just think about all the struggle that's created in those stressful situations, all those late nights, all that stress, all those arguments, the social distancing, all the missed opportunities to be there for each other, the missed opportunities to build anything. But I also want you to think about the converse of that, what you're missing, like the parallel universe of that family. Imagine if that family was a family where everybody was raised to understand that as a member of this family, your number one objective is to do right by the family, period. That this family, we stick together. In this family, we have each other's back. In this family, we trust each other. In this family, we come through for each other. In this family, our goal is to give back whatever you take. So it's okay to go borrow money from your sister because you're struggling financially that month. That's cool. Your sister might loan you 500 because she knows you're gonna pay her back with interest, or maybe not real interest, maybe not financial interest, but she knows you're gonna over deliver. You're gonna outdo her with economic love because she came through for you when nobody else would. She gave you that $500 when nobody else was there for you. Your raggedy ass boyfriend was gone. Your friends ain't picking up the phone when you're struggling, but your sister picked up the phone and said, "I got you, sis. I'm gonna cash out the money to you right now." You are indebted to her. You are so grateful that you're gonna make 100% sure that all the joy that you felt from somebody coming through for you, you're gonna over deliver when you return the favor. You say, "Look, I owe you for life. Not only am I going to pay you back that 500, but I owe you a big favor. You let me know what you need. I'm going to come through for you to the end as if I'm coming through for myself." Now, that is a beautiful partnership. That's where you have trust, you have loyalty, you have all the building blocks of a beautiful family and a wonderful economy. Think about this now. Now you've got this foundation of trust with a group of people where you can all come to each other. If anybody has an economic problem, then it's everybody's problem, because everybody knows that it's okay, it's safe to pay it forward. That if I come through for you, I ain't got to worry about whether you're going to come through for me. I know you're going to come through for me because you probably already have. That's awesome, right? Right? And this is a culture. This is the code. This is how you build a family. This is how you raise your kids, right? Like, you come through for each other no matter what, and do not ever borrow money from your family member and not pay them back, because that is the same as stealing. When you borrow money from a loved one and you do not pay them back, you might as well pulled out a gun and robbed your own damn relative in a dark alley, which in my view makes you a complete piece of shit. Seriously. So let's get it right, people. I'm not really talking to everybody. Some people are addicted to this nonsense. They're addicted to the niggerology. They like that ridiculous drama. That's all they know. That's what they were trained on. But the people that get ahead, the people that have these strong economic families, tend to be people that operate on a code of conduct. No, you don't. No, if you borrow money from your cousin, you pay your cousin back. And if you cannot pay your cousin back, you remain in constant communication and you consistently apologize and you do everything in your power to make things right because you know that they needed that money they loaned you. They loaned you that last $500. You are sensitive to the fact that they need that money and you're not running around here acting like they never did nothing for you. I think that's just kind of weird behavior, and I don't understand where it comes from. I suspect that maybe it comes from the fact that in a lot of the families, like when I see men that do this, a lot of times it's because it's some man who never really had maybe a daddy that would get in his ass about his responsibility, and maybe his mama felt guilty because he didn't have a daddy, so kind of like made excuses for him his whole life and kind of let him get away with stuff as like he's a little baby, and then the next thing you know, you got a 40-year-old baby. That's why these rappers, think about it, look how many rappers we have that are 35 years old and call themselves babies. Why would you want to be the baby, little baby, baby this, baby that? I don't understand that. I don't understand why grown men want to be a baby. But I think that's an interesting metaphor because if you remember the movie Baby Boy kind of covered all that, 2 decades ago. John Singleton covered that, where you got these grown men who are raised to be babies. And the way a baby kind of operates is a baby's like, I don't owe anybody anything. I cry when I have a problem because I can't really solve it. And also as a baby, I can take, and I don't have to give anything back. I don't have to think about what I've taken from others, the trauma I've inflicted on others. And I want you to just spend the moment for a second when you get a chance. And I want you to reflect on some of the trifling people that you probably know in your own world, in your own family, who have caused unimaginable amounts of pain for others. Pain toward their children because they weren't there for their children. Pain toward women or pain toward men. You got women out here that have that same mindset, right? So at the end of the day, I just really think that when you're talking about lost Black wealth, you have to talk about family structures. And I'm telling you, when the white man did a number on you, when he destroyed your families and took away the structure of families and accountability and responsibility, he took trillions of dollars out of your pocket for that. But a lot of people aren't even going to notice it because it's a very subtle kind of wealth extraction. It's something that you won't see if you don't understand how wealth works. Wealth comes from family and wealth comes from relationships. So if all your family and all your relationships is torn apart, then it's very hard to build any wealth, and you're probably going to lose wealth because you can't do it all by yourself. So that's my 2 cents on the issue. That was on my mind. I appreciate you hearing me out because I was thinking about this today, and as I was working on my book, my next book is called The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. And I'm going to do a lecture on this book at the All Black National Convention, which is in Orlando, the weekend of October 29th through November 1st, on the Monday, the Monday, the last day of the convention. I'm going to do literally a deep dive training on some of the things I've discovered in the research that I put into writing this book. And maybe it can be some sort of a blueprint for those of you that are looking to build true economic power, independent economic power for your family. I'm telling you, your family, that's the secret sauce. That is your secret juice. That is your multi-million-dollar play for those of you that are smart. And those people that don't want to invest in family, like maybe if maybe you're a guy who says, hey, I love being single. I'm gonna be single for life. Even when I'm 90 years old, I'm not knocking that. But I can say you might want to reconsider that strategy, because when you pour into those children, those are the ones who are going to be pouring into you when your old ass is old and gray and tired and raggedy, and you ain't sleeping, you ain't got 50 girlfriends no more, and you barely can get out your chair. I'm telling you, those kids are the ones that'll come through for you and have your back. So pour into something while you're young so that people will pour into you while you're old. I thought about that a lot. I would look at like some of the guys, like I would look at the old man in the nursing home who's the sweetest old man, maybe he's 90 years old, and nobody would come to visit him in the nursing home. And I would say, why would there be a 90-year-old man sitting in the nursing home and there's nobody there to come see him? Mr. Wilson gets super sick, and nobody cares. Like nobody's even checking on him. Well, a lot of times it's because he never invested in anybody when he was young. When he was young and had all the freedom and the energy, Maybe he was investing in a new vagina every week, or maybe he was investing in a liquor bottle, or maybe he was investing in, gambling or whatever it was that he did that made him feel young and free and everything else. But he wasn't pouring into any young person that was going to be there for him long term. So to me, that's a bad investing strategy, because that means that because when you don't plant seeds, you don't have a harvest. So Mr. Wilson is sitting in the nursing home by himself with nobody caring that he was sick this week, because Mr. Wilson never planted a seed. So that's why he doesn't have the harvest. So investing is far deeper than just, IRAs and 401ks and stock market portfolios. It's all about what you do with the resources that you have at your disposal, everything from your time to your love to your family and everything in between. So keep that in mind as you build wealth. I hope you go out and make $1 trillion. I hope your family becomes great. And thank you for listening. This was on my mind, so I thought I wanted to share it. Don't forget that tomorrow night we're doing the book club. We're going to read more of Dr. Claude Anderson's book, Black Labor, White Wealth, where we are exploring all the reasons why white people owe you at least $14 trillion. And I'm not voting for any Democrat or Republican until they start talking about their reparations package. And we're digging deep, and we're on page 82, and we're literally going to march through this entire book, and we're going to march through all of Dr. Claude Anderson's books first, and then we're going to dig into other books. It's going to take probably years to do this, but we do this every Wednesday night at 8:30. It's free. You also get free access to my life class in the Black Business School. It is literally the formula for greatness. I'm not sitting here pretending like I am inherently a great man, but I can say I've done some great things, and it was really coming from great effort and a great culture and a great pattern and a great process. And I want to share that with you. Blackkeystogreatness.com. That's the URL. It's totally free. I hope you'll join us. I think you're going to like it. All right, guys. So hit the thumbs up button on your way out. Thank you for listening. It was real. Love you. I'll see you soon. Have a good night. Peace.